I think it's finally time. There are so many bosses I absolutely adore by now. I played a lot of games with a lot of incredible bosses and I could easily make like a list of 100 bosses I absolutely love. However, today I'm going to talk about my absolute favorite boss of all time. And that boss would be last year's Messmer the Impaler. No boss has ever resonated with me as much as this incredible fellow. He is just perfect in every way for me and I just can't think of anything wrong with this boss. And in this video I want to explain what makes Messmer the most compelling and just overall best boss for me that was ever created. Because I think there are actually quite a few bosses that could be contenders for this. But Messmer remains my favorite. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications and do all the YouTube stuff. It helps out the channel massively and I would really appreciate it. But now with the intro out of the way, let's get into Messmer the Impaler. I think to understand just how hyped Messmer really was, we really need to go back to the start. At the moment when From Software decided to release trailer after trailer for Elden Ring, I just realized Messmer is going to be one of the coolest characters ever. Ever since his first appearance, I was completely and utterly intrigued by his nature and I couldn't wait to fight him. And oh boy did he live up. Sure, the voice actor in the final version is either completely different or did change his tone quite a lot, but I overall prefer the new one, even though the other got me interested as well.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light?
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light?
I think everything about him just looked absolutely perfect. The fire he used, his voice acting, his design was so good. I was just so excited to finally fight Messmer when Shadow of the Erdtree released. And seeing his statue in the collector's edition just made me even more excited because I was so hyped for the game and the statue just looked amazing. And oh boy, it does look amazing. I love it so much. And once finally loading into Shadow of the Erdtree, the hype just got more. Walking through these lands under the influence of Messmer the Impaler, everywhere was so cool and I just couldn't wait to finally find him. And once I realized I'm approaching the Shadow Keep where Messmer resides and making my way through my favorite From Software level, I just couldn't hold back the excitement. I was filled with anticipation. It was an amazing experience. Messmer has one of the best presentations I have ever seen for a boss ever. He's my third favorite to be precise, only behind two phenomenal Final Fantasy XVI bosses. I think everything that has to do with Messmer's presentation is just perfect, and it all comes together in one aspect: story. Every single aspect of this fight helps to enhance the experience and just tells Messmer's entire story in one encounter. You enter his dark chamber and he is looking at you through his snake, which will later make sense because Messmer is technically blind. And here he just starts roasting the Tarnished just like Morgoth, and he has some insanely memorable lines. The delivery is perfect. He just sounds so tired of it, like he has repeated this for millions of times by now. And then phase 1 begins. The music is pretty sinister and dark and also definitely menacing, but there is also a semblance of tragedy. And after you defeat phase 1, my favorite FromSoft cutscene plays. Messmer discards his golden seal eye and releases his inner infection, the Abyssal Serpent. Now he fights as base serpent Messmer and releases his full potential. In the cutscene where he transitions into this form, he is still apologizing to his mother Marika because he couldn't fulfill his duty, even though Marika left him abandoned. And the music also showcases this. I have recommended it before, but the musical analysis of Messmer's OST by Davi is just wonderful. It was a very insightful watch. I would wholeheartedly recommend it. I think this entire fight is just a masterpiece of presentation. I don't think it gets cooler in the series than the snakes because I'm just biased towards snakes and I think the snake attacks all look amazing. So visually this fight is definitely not lacking either. But my single favorite aspect about this fight's presentation is the ending. When you slay Messmer, he doesn't curse you as Tarnished, he doesn't curse you as some vermin, he curses the one and only person who is responsible for all his suffering in his life. He finally curses Marika. It's such a tragic and bitter end to this incredible character, and Messmer in a short span of like 6 minutes became my favorite From Software character to this date. Yes, even with Armored Core 6 in mind. I can't glaze Messmer's presentation and character enough. I think it's amazing and just perfection. As important as presentation is, I think my favorite boss of all time should also have an amazing moveset. And guess what? Messmer does. Messmer's phase 1 is a quite mix-up heavy phase. Basically, the most important move in this phase is this thrust. This thrust is around 4 mix-ups he can do when dodging it. If you dodge into it, he can either do a quick spin, a slow spin into the spear drag that you can jump attack. He can do another poke to follow it up and then do a spin, which you also can jump attack. And if you dodge away, he can do a series of pokes which are strafable, allowing for a great attack window. And this is probably one of the coolest moves he has in this phase. It's so amazing and makes the fight so dynamic. This fight also has quite a few of reaction checks and some very tight dodges, also some directional rolling required, and it also allows for a lot of amazing jump openings. It's already an amazing and just wonderful phase. And phase 2 is even better for me. What phase 2 doesn't have in mix-ups, it definitely makes up for it in flow. It removes some of the mix-ups from phase 1, for example the poke move now only being a 1 thrust or 1 spin, depending on if you dodge away from it or into it. However, the flow of this phase has not been beaten in a game ever for me. The way he transitions between snakes and his normal attacks seamlessly is just amazing and creates some of the coolest strings of combos I have ever seen in the series, no, even in gaming. The snakes are some of the coolest attacks I've ever seen, and dodging them is just so fun. The super snake move where he creates a lot of snakes is so fun to dodge, and there are quite a few varieties to do it. It never gets boring for me. Another amazing attack he also has in both phases is the Messmer Assault. There is the standard way to dodge it where you basically dodge into it and dodge into it again. It's quite precise and it's very fun to dodge. However, dodging backwards with it and then crouching and avoiding it that way is one of the most satisfying ways to dodge an attack in the entire series, and I love it. It's just great. Love it so much. And jumping attacks are still very possible in this phase, though a lot harder to do, especially for the snake moves, because it's quite precise. And I also really love rolling with Messmer when he does this roll forward move, which is basically a combo transitioner that usually leads into a snake attack or some other attack of his. It's a fantastic and superb fight and one of my most fought bosses of all time. I just can't get enough of him. He is so good. I think it's as unanimous as it gets. Everyone loves Messmer. Well, nearly everyone. Messmer really earned this legendary status among FromSoft bosses. Artorias, the influential knight who influenced a lot of the bosses in the future, Slave Knight Gale, who is just an icon and one of the most popular bosses to this day, and of course Ishin the Sword Saint, who is a legend and for most one of the hardest bosses in From Software history. I think popularity wise Messmer is definitely up there. Just about everyone absolutely adores this boss, and for a good reason. I think there are a few bosses that do stuff better. The Final Fantasy 16 final boss is my second favorite boss of all time, and I think presentation wise he is the best boss ever by far. And Erlang from Black Myth Wukong is better at mechanics, and also by quite a bit of a margin. However, Messmer's full package is just the most consistent and great thing I've ever seen in the game. Everything about him is just so great and I just can't get enough of him. He's just awesome. But please tell me in the comments, what do you think about Messmer? Do you love him or do you absolutely adore him? I would be very interested to hear your opinions on it. And yeah, I think that's about it. If you have anything else to say, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope I will see you here next time. Until then, bye!